Go ahead. Yeah.
Men have virgin fetishes, and there's only 2 reasons why. 1, you suck in bed, and a virgin wouldn't know that you suck in bed because they don't know anything. 2, you're a fucking pedophile. To be hyperfixated on a woman being a virgin is the same thing as a man being hyperfixated on bald coochie. If I ever hear a man say, y'all don't want no coochie if it's hairy, you're fucking weird. You like little girls. Don't be coming up in my comments talking about, oh, if you're not a virgin, then you hold no value. It's creepy. You pushing P and it's pedophile, baby.
Erroneous!
Holy,
Erroneous.
okay, wow, damn. All right, there's a lot there. So, okay.
What in the name of made up a bunch of bullshit was that? What in the name of just made up a bunch of bullshit was that garbage? I got to hear an explanation for this.
Why is it garbage?
Well, if we can, before we get into that, let's just bring the whole panel in on this. So, going around the table, agree, disagree?
With what?
The clip that just... Okay, so if you're a man and you have a preference for women who are virgins, you suck in bed, you're a pedophile, and those were the 2 main points.
I would disagree.
Disagree.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, even though we did play it, if you guys could avoid the use of the P word and instead use different language, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So instead of that, we'll just say what P word?
Pushing P.
Let's just do P word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
I'll agree.
You agree? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Agree or disagree?
I agree, but I know it's more to that too. So
there's more to it?
Yeah, like I think I agree, but it's definitely more than just those 2 reasons.
Oh, there's other reasons.
I mean, I feel like there is more reasons, but
okay.
It is kind of weird that, I don't know, I guess it's a preference thing, but
okay.
If you're a grown man and you want somebody to be a virgin.
What about you?
No, disagree.
Disagree?
Yeah, I also disagree, but I do agree with the fact that if it's, you should not require it to be bald. It should be hairy or not. You should like it either way.
Like full on 70s bush?
They should like it however you have it. If they love you, they like it however you have it.
Okay.
I see what Lily means, but I think that preference isn't a P word thing. It's just preference. So.
Okay.
I disagree.
Disagree. Okay. So, really quick on the bald coochie thing, and then we'll come back to the whole virgin thing really quick. So it also P word if he prefers a woman to shave.
I was just trying to give like
an
example. I understand why someone would want it bald. I could understand that, but there's some men that they come off almost as, not to me, but just because you guys have to remember, I'm going based off this clip that was made. We do our podcast in segments, so every 4th episode is a recap and roast, and we go based off the comments that we get. Mm-hmm. So most comments from that segment we're talking about virgins and all that, and I just think a man being hyperfixated on a virgin or someone being completely bald down there that's a little off to me. It's a little off-putting, because what does that stem from?
Wait, I just want to make sure I get this right. It gives you the ick, right? It gives you the ick.
No, it gives me it's concern. It's alarming to me. It's not an ick. It's alarming.
Oh, why is it alarming?
Can I ask you a question on this? So, do you prefer a man clean shaven or with a beard?
I prefer a beard.
You prefer a beard?
Yes.
Okay. Would you object if I were to say that women who don't like beards are definitely P words? Because
that's not your private parts.
It's preference. It's all preference. I think that's what Brian's trying to make, is like it is a preference to have it bald. And I do agree with like even what Lily was saying, that it is just whatever kind of like what you want to have. But I don't think a preference is wrong. If you prefer men without beards, why are you a P word? You're not. It's just a preference.
I think for some it's a preference and some it's a demand.
I think that goes for everything.
But I'm just curious though. I would like to kind of get into this if you don't mind. What the hell is wrong with having that demand? Like, so let's say that we have a 35-year-old man, and he just demands to have a virgin. He's not going to date unless you're a virgin and unless you're shaved down there. That's what he likes.
Well,
Can you tell me, hang on, let me finish the question. Can you actually tell me one reason why that would be immoral? In any way, shape, or form, why that would actually be immoral? Here's what I'm not looking for. What I'm not looking for is, well, it gives me the ick. I'm actually looking for it's immoral because...
I just think that unless a man is a virgin himself, he shouldn't be requesting for a woman to be a virgin. If he's a virgin
why not?
himself, because what's the obsession with a virgin?
Because he just wants one. What's wrong with that?
Why?
What's the reason? There's always a reason.
Because he does. What's wrong with that? He woke up one morning and I'll let you give you the whole scenario, right? I won't leave anything to the imagination. He wakes up one morning and he stretches and he goes, oh, I want a virgin. What is the problem with that? I actually want to know.
After already, what if he's, his thing is for virgins? So, yeah, he woke up that morning.
He slammed half of L.A. He has banged half of L.A. twice. And he had a good time doing it. And he wakes up on a Thursday and he stretches and he yawns and he says, I just want myself a virgin. I've always wanted one, and that's what I'm going for because that's my preference. What the hell is wrong? I actually want to know what's wrong with that. What's the problem?
I think as long as he's not bashing
it's icky,
females that
I'm just
aren't
looking
virgins.
for anything other than it's icky. Anything other than that.
I just know that's not a man I would surround myself with.
Change the split.
What?
You're fine.
Oh. I don't really have anything to say. I just think it's weird that men are hyperfixated. You have to remember I'm going based off my comment section. So when
I think it's weird that you're hyperfixated on men who have that preference. That's really weird. It gives me the
It's weird
ick.
that they always comment stuff like that. That's
I know,
weird.
because it seems like they have the preference that you guys are virgins and you're not, right? That's the point,
Well,
right?
I actually have a bit of a follow-up on this. So you said you've been celibate for 2 years, right?
over 2 years, yeah.
Over 2 years. And you said your previous relationship was 8 years. 8 years. I mean, I'm imagining you're not a virgin, but I'm imagining it sounds like, given we haven't got into your other videos yet, from what you've disclosed in your other videos, it actually sounds like you, at least what you're putting out there, that you have a low body count.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious, why would you object to men having a preference that actually leans more towards how you are? That's what confuses me.
Well, I'm not a virgin.
You're not a virgin,
my body
but
count is low. I mean, it's fine to, I think it's fine if you want a woman that hasn't slept with a bunch of people. If that's your preference, that's fine. But for a virgin, that's kind of, and the only thing I can say for that, unless you're a virgin yourself, I just, for religious reasons or whatever, I don't think it's appropriate.
Well, so wouldn't the ultimate manifestation of kind of the way that you choose to move, which is celibacy, it sounds like, and my understanding is, and I think we'll see this in some of your future videos, is you're saying you're waiting until marriage for your next partner. Is that correct? To have sex?
And I said abstaining from sex. I'm not waiting till marriage, but I wouldn't just lay down with anyone.
Okay, but so wouldn't a virgin be the ultimate manifestation of essentially what you're doing, which is celibacy and sexual purity?
I just think that my whole reasoning for the video is that men's argument is that you hold no value unless you're a virgin. That's what all the comments are. You hold no value if you're not a virgin, you don't hold value. So I don't know where that comes from, and I think men tell on themselves in their comments.
Well, it's not clear to me if large swaths, like large populations of men, would refuse to date a woman if she had, for example, a body count of 1 as opposed to being a virgin. It might be more preferable that she's a virgin. It's not clear to me if it would immediately be a deal breaker unless they were like devoutly religious or something. But I think it's a general preference that men do prefer women with lower body counts, and the ultimate manifestation of that would be a woman who's a virgin. But I don't think men are like, oh, she has a body count of 1, I'm refusing to date her, especially if they're not virgins themselves. But you think it's the case that like what percentage of men would you say will exclusively only date virgin women?
I mean,
It has to be, well, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know.
Well, you said a lot of men say.
I said not that they date them. I think that's what they want. Because.
Wouldn't a lot of women want to date a billionaire?
Honestly.
What woman wouldn't want to date a billionaire? If they had access.
Billionaires can be kind of scary. I wouldn't want to date a billionaire.
You really?
I wouldn't.
You mean like literally hundreds of generations of your children would be financially, oh no, that's a lot of generations. Like you would be financially set. You never have to work a day in your life. Everything in your life would be taken care of. Everything. You wouldn't date a billionaire?
A billionaire? I mean, I never say never, but I just think a lot of billionaires are probably not the type of people that I would want to date.
You wouldn't secure your bloodline for like dozens of generations financially?
I'd rather be happy.
Well, what if you could be happy with a billionaire?
I'm guaranteed happiness.
Let's assume the guy who's making $40,000 a year is a good guy, and the billionaire who's making $1 billion a year is also a good guy. Which one do you pick?
So we're saying that I'm totally into this guy. Okay, obviously, if I'm into this guy, that's why I say never. But I mean, yeah, you would prefer for your man to have money and to be able to provide.
So if we're looking at that as a spectrum, like on the extreme end, you have a billionaire, but then like, okay, you have a guy who makes 100K, which is still very good, right? So couldn't you like view it in that lens of perhaps on the extreme end, you have a virgin, but then like still very solid life partner would be a woman who has a sub 5 body count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So the ultimate preference would be a billionaire or a woman who's a virgin, but most people would be totally fine partnering with somebody who does have a low body count or who makes less than $1 billion.
But that would be if the men were commenting, oh, my preference would be this. These are comments saying you hold no value if you're not a virgin. If you're a virgin, then you don't have a say. Like, that's why this video was made.
It seems a bit of like a straw man, though. I don't hear a lot of men saying, well, I would refuse to date a woman if she had a body count of 1.
Well, people are not commenting that, so I wasn't responding to people that.
So you're saying people are saying what? That they'd prefer to date a virgin?
They weren't saying I prefer to date.
What are they saying? That non-virgins have no value?
No value. That's what I was responding to.
I don't hear this frequently, even in like dating spaces.
I think a lot of people say things on the internet they would never say in real life.
Sure, that's fair.
So people feel very bold on the internet.
So let's get back to the two actual original claims, though.
I wonder if I can dive in just briefly, Brian, if that's all right.
Andrew, let me just make one more point, and then I'll have you just come in real quick. So just really quick on your double standards thing. So you said, well, it would be okay for a virgin man to want a virgin woman. Otherwise, if you have a body count as a man, wrong for you to desire a virgin. That's your position on that?
It's not, I mean, that's your preference, but to shame a woman for not being a virgin when you're far from it is concerning to me.
Well, I don't know if that was your original argument, but it did sound like your position was only men who are virgins either deserve or should prefer virgin women.
Yeah, I feel, yeah.
Okay, so hold on. So let me ask you a question. In order for you to want to be with someone, need you be exactly the same? Like, so in order for you to desire a trait in a partner, need you also possess said trait?
So you're saying based on my low body count?
So you're saying as a guy, if you want to date a virgin, you should be a virgin too. That's essentially what you're saying. So my question is, in order for you to desire a trait in a partner, need you also possess that trait in order for you to desire it?
I mean, this is the thing. If it's a preference, you're just like, oh, I'm just a guy. I'm saying that if it's just a preference, right?
Let's say it's a very strong preference. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still taking my stance on it should be. Maybe if a guy slept with 1 or 2 girls, maybe that's more fair, but just...
No, let's say he's got a body count of 100.
And he wants
but he
a virgin.
still wants to date a woman who's a virgin because he's made some sort of analysis or assessment, and he's determined, well, I think when it comes to having a girlfriend, life partner, a woman who has a low body count, or in fact, has no body count, would make for the best partner for me. He's just made that assessment.
Then if that's his requirement, that's his requirement. I don't know.
Well, you might acknowledge that he can have it, but you would object to it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just think there's just a lot of weirdos and creeps out there, and that's what the video was made. That's who the video was made for. No, but
you would object to that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I guess let me ask you a question. A woman who's not funny, but she desires a guy who's funny and can make her laugh, do you object to that? Because she doesn't possess the trait in which she desires in a partner.
Mm-hmm. No.
You don't object.
Would you object to a woman who had brown eyes who wanted a partner with blue eyes?
No.
So I don't understand here. If I can give you a physical characteristic, which I would say virginity is a physical characteristic, the physical characteristic of you have brown eyes, you only desire people who have blue eyes. Is that then alarming to you?
No.
Well, how come that's not alarming to you, but the idea that a man who's not a virgin would desire a virgin is?
Because one is a physical attribute, the other one is a vulnerable act.
Well, I don't understand. They're both physical attributes.
No, because the color of your hair, the color of your eyes is different than popping your cherry, having sex for the first time. That is way different.
But hang on, both of those would be physical attributes. Virginity would be a physical attribute.
But you could look at someone and say, oh, you have blue eyes, they're pretty. You can't look at someone and say, oh, you're a virgin or not.
No. But let's assume you will only date men who have blue eyes. That's it. Your preference is, I have brown eyes and I will only date men who have blue eyes. Is that alarming to you?
No.
Okay, but I don't understand why. Why is it that if you have the preference, I'll only date men who have blue eyes, that's not alarming, but I will only date virgins is alarming? Like, maybe you can square this for me and Brian, because that's what he's getting after. He's wondering.
I think it just screams the P word. I can't personally wrap my head around the idea of someone being so hyperfixated on wanting a woman to be a virgin.
So there's
why? Well, wait, hang on. I'm sorry. Do you associate desire of virginity with the P word? That's your association?
I think there's some correlation to that, yes.
Yeah, what's the correlate?
The same thing as the example I give, only wanting it to be bald. I just think that, what does that resemble? A little girl.
Whoa, wait.
Does it not? Being a virgin and being completely bald down there.
So then I assume that you would be against 6'8" men dating 4'10" women?
No.
Well, I don't understand. What do they resemble? What does a 4'10" woman resemble to a 6'8" man?
I think you could tell even if it's based on someone's height, I think you could still tell if they're of age.
Oh, so and could you maybe tell that with other parts of their body too?
Well, I got a question.
Hang on. I just want to know, can you tell that with other parts of the body too?
Maybe if the girl you were sleeping with had only had some really, really small peen.
Small what?
Peen.
Pee-pee?
Yeah.
The guy has a small.
Maybe if he
pee-pee?
had a micro peen, then
what the
it would
fuck?
still.
Adults can have small pee-pees.
Yeah, what are you talking about? That's bizarre.
What do you mean?
Like that doesn't even make any sense. Like, what do you mean? So
Wait.
I'm really curious here. If the association in your mind is you must be the P word or in some way associated with the P word because you prefer virginity, and guess what? Guess what else are virgins out there? Underage people, those are virgins as well. So you make that association, okay? But there's all sorts of things that you can then associate with that, which would just include things like, I prefer youthful-looking women who aren't virgins, let's say. Well, that's still associated with the same thing. Or short women, that's associated with the same thing, right? Or women who only eat macaroni and cheese, I guess, or that's their favorite dish. I could associate that with a kind of prepubescent mentality. So Why is it that you make only this association? That's really weird. It makes me think that you have a screw loose and that you are making an association that other people would not attribute to children. That's not what, when you think child, that is not what people attribute to child. Why do you attribute that to child?
I don't think I'm this genius that's like came up with this idea that being bald down there or being a virgin kind of correlates. I'm saying only wanting that.
Wait, really quick, if I can jump in here really quick, Andrew, and I'll pass it right back. On the bald thing, you said, well, how would you know? So let me ask you a question. Let's say it's a 30-year-old woman, and she's told you she's 30. On her dating app, it says 30, but she's bald down there, and she's down there, and right next to on the bed is a driver's license, a photo ID, her birth certificate, and a sworn statement with witnesses under penalty of perjury that she is in fact 30 years old, but she also is shaved. She's bald down there. Is that still P word stuff?
I'm not saying that if you do.
Under
I
penalty
get
of
waxed
perjury.
every month. Like
I'm
saying
you get waxed?
Yes, I'm not saying I'm saying for a man to be like like hairy coochie is just like I can't. I just kind of feel like, one, you're ungrateful, and two, it's kind of off-putting.
Wait, so you don't have any grooming preferences for men? Like you're fine with full 70s bush?
I prefer hair, but I mean,
like full bush, like never groomed a day in their life, full bush, jungle status.
Yes.
They braid that shit too.
I would help them.
You're fine with the braids. You will braid.
I will.
Okay.
I will
Go ahead, Andrew.
save a pube souvenir.
So to kind of explore the rest of this, and I think Brian makes a good point here. This is actually where I was going to go with it next, because I'm just as curious as he is. Would you associate hair on a man with being a man, right? That is definitely a trait of being an adult male would be hair, right? Mm-hmm. And you would also associate then that a male who has very little hair, you would associate with a boy, right?
I don't see. My thing is, it would be like me.
So here's the thing. Let me just show you where I'm going with this. I'll land the plane, as they say, really quickly. If a woman's preference is to only have men who, have no body hair because they get rid of it by shaving it or whatever, however they do it, are they the P word? Are those women alarming to you? Are they disgusting P words because they want a man who removes all of their body hair and that's what they want?
No.
Well, I don't understand the association then.
Well, I'm sorry you can't understand, and I don't know if you want to hear that.
I'm sorry that you can't explain, but try to explain. I'm trying to understand.
This is just my stance on it. I think it's weird when, hundreds and hundreds of comments are all they can think, talk, and speak about is a virgin. I think it's
Is there a preference? That's weird that all that they talk about is their preferences?
I do think it's weird to take time out of your day and type some weird comments like that.
Well, it's really weird to me that you think it's weird that you would put your opinion out there and say, here's my opinion on X thing. Mm-hmm. Now, don't say anything about it. That's really weird. Isn't the whole point of engaging in a dialogue or putting your opinion out there is because you want feedback from the audience and the people who are watching so that they can express what their opinion is?
And they express theirs, and then I expressed back.
Right. But if they're all expressing, or a good number of them are expressing that this is a preference, why do you immediately associate that with the P word when we hold you to the same standard? Apparently, that is not P word-like behavior. If a woman wants a hairless man, why, that's just fine. But if a man wants a hairless woman, he's a P word. Can you make that make sense for me?
I don't think I can. I'm sorry.
I don't think you can either, but I appreciate it.
Do you think more women prefer to be groomed versus men who have that preference?
I would say yes, more women do. I mean, just even for myself, I get waxed monthly, and I've been abstaining from sex. It's not for anyone but myself.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like, I see girls at the beach. There's no way they're trying to go around to the beach with, like, a full-on bush because they want their bathing suit as small as possible. And then my second point I was thinking when you were saying some of this is it's only relatively recently that women would leave high school without their virginity intact. So when men would prefer a virgin, they would still be wanting somebody who is an adult. Like, this is somewhat of a new thing that girls lose their virginity before the age of 18, and historically, right? Wouldn't you agree to that? It's not like women were being highly promiscuous even like 50 years ago.
I
If
mean,
you just had to guess.
that's
Like, when did the sexual revolution happen?
I don't know what women do on. I mean,
If you
we
had to
can-
guess, though, do you think the women were more promiscuous or less promiscuous after the sexual revolution?
I think they're more promiscuous now, I guess.
Right. So then it's a fairly new thing for men to have, or it's not a new thing that men want virgins, but it's a fairly new thing that men are now encountering a dating market where most women are now not virgins when they graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably not necessarily affiliated with being attracted to minors. It's probably just part of their hardwiring that's what they want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.